entrepreneurship, as we know, there is a lot of emphasis on building businesses based on likes and follows. But just because you get the press by way of the image, by way of the likes, by way of the followers, does not constitute having a profitable business. On today, my guest is going to do just that, teaching us how to go from Miss Popular to Miss Profitable. More to sip about after this. Well, hello to you all out there. This is the Heals Podcast, the Healed, Educated, Empowered Lady podcast for evolving women, where we share in purpose. I am so happy to have my guest co-host on today, who will be sharing how we as entrepreneurial women can go from being Miss Popular, because we all know we want the likes and follows, but we need to get beyond that and become Miss Profitable. So my guest on today, she is the founder, the amazing woman, founder of Femme 500, the premier global international network and members club. So with glasses raised, everybody, without further ado, let me welcome my host, none other than the gorgeous soul, Eugenita Pro Host. Hello, gorgeous soul.
Hi. Hello.
Let them know that you are in the virtual cafe.
I'm in the virtual cafe. Yay!
Yes, and I was telling her earlier, I had to dress for the occasion. So I got on my heels, I got on my necklace. I'm ready to own the world and become the trillionairess like you, to become building my own empire. So I'm so happy to have you.
Thank you for having me. I love it. And I love all of the glamour that you're braiding. I mean,
Thank you.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I had to do it for you. I had to do it for the occasion. So I'm super excited about this, about you just sharing. You just actually had, not too long ago, your summit going from Miss Popular to Miss Profitable, and on Clubhouse you talked and brung some just awareness to that. So share a little bit first about what you do by way of your empire. Yes. And then how that led into having that summit that you had. Go for it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So I'm Anjanita Prevost, and I am an award-winning feminine leadership expert, global business connector, LinkedIn strategist, and the founder of Femme 500. And I essentially help women increase their feminine power, financial power, and build wealth through connecting and collaborating. That's sort of how the fans, followers, and likes message was born.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about how you were able to build this empire. I call it empire business, and how it has just transformed into 1,000+ ladies who are part of this wonderful movement that you have.
Thank you. So I started my business about 10 years ago. So I've been online for 10 years, and I've seen the whole landscape evolve. So when I was introduced to internet marketing, I was introduced for the sole purpose of business networking. It was not personal in 2010. It was just about, connecting with people to build business relationships and grow your business. Mm-hmm. And I love that. But then it became more sensationalized. And then we know that, the algorithms changed over the years. They introduced a paid model, and I guess the rest is history. Right. But what I noticed was I had my own journey, because I had a different journey than most people, because I started on Facebook, we're talking 2010. I'm on Facebook. Then I went over to Twitter. Then I was also on LinkedIn, and then I, adapted the other social media platforms like Instagram. But LinkedIn became my number one platform. So I was very comfortable on LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. But then when I came back to Facebook, I just noticed that women were focusing on way too much fans, followers, and likes. And I started asking the hard questions. And a lot of women were pissed off, they were offended because it brought to light a bigger issue.
I can imagine. So fast forward to that issue now. Where are you in the process of that by way of the because there's so many platforms you just
Yes,
shared.
absolutely.
Yeah. So where are you now in the space, in the social media space or platform space now? Is LinkedIn like your jam, your landing place, or is there another platform of choice?
So here's the deal. I say this to every woman. When you're online, you need to focus on one platform, master one.
Okay.
Get to monetization with one platform. So there was a time where Twitter was a monetization strategy for me. And I would literally connect with people on Twitter and they would become my clients. There was a time, and still to this day, where Facebook was the primary. But now LinkedIn is my primary, and I'm not, disillusioned and running off on, trying everything. I'm not on TikTok. I'm not on Snapchat. I am on Clubhouse. But again, I have a very, strategic way of approaching Clubhouse. So for me, I think women make the mistake because they're running around and they're trying to be liked. They're trying to garner fans and followers, and they don't have a real strategy that's tied to monetization. And, like I shared earlier, when I started asking these questions, people were getting offended because I would ask, oh, you have 15,000 followers. Are you making $15,000? Oh, you have 28,000 fans. Wow, that's pretty impressive. Are you, a six-figure earner? Women could not answer those questions. And then I would ask, about conversion rates. Are you converting those fans and followers and likes? Are you converting them to a sales call? Are you converting them to email subscribers? What is the percentage of your group? Like, where are these people going? Where are you leading them to? Most women can answer that question. So literally, I was in the middle of a launch, $1 billion Rolodex, which is sort of my system for cultivating, rich relationships. And I just said it out. I just said, instead of focusing on fame, focus on fortune. Instead of focusing on metrics, focus on monetization. And then I said, instead of focusing on being Miss Popular, focus on being Miss Profitable. And that's essentially how the phrase was born. And then I hosted a webinar. And then I thought, you know what, I'm going to turn this into a summit. And so I turned it into a women's marketing summit. And, as you know, we had, 18 experts, and we covered Facebook, Instagram, Clubhouse. I mean, gosh, Pinterest. We covered everything. So it was really, really, really awesome.
Amazing. And it was an amazing, again, summit.
I forgot to say YouTube. I knew I was forgetting one. I forgot to say YouTube.
And it was an amazing summit. Even from the Clubhouse perspective, just what you all shared, and I love the myriad of platforms that you shared and the experts that you brought to the table with that. It was just a very high vibe platform of people that you had brought together, of ladies, high achieving women that you had brought together. That was definitely amazing. So share with us, because I know that takes mindset. So I want you to answer this question. Why then is it the shiny object in syndrome? Why are we as female entrepreneurs often fall prey to the shiny object syndrome in finding our landing place?
Because we're looking for immediate gratification, and our ego is running the show. So I'll give you an example. I was on an interview earlier on Instagram, and a woman sent me a message in the DM, and she said, "Oh my gosh, I normally don't watch, these shows all the way through, but there's something about you. I want to connect with you. I need to have a conversation with you." And so I posted it in my group, and I said, When you know you're the best in the world at what you do, you get on with your work. You don't worry about fans, followers, and likes. You trust the process. And the people who need to hear what you have to say will follow. And that's my philosophy. My ego is not married to, that number. So I continue to get on with my work. But most women are so concerned about the number that a couple things happen. They focus on the number and they create based on getting those likes. So they're not creating from an authentic place. They're just creating to get likes and fans and followers.
Right.
The flip side of that is if they're giving their power away to a like button, then what they're doing is they're holding themselves back because they believe that their power is in that like button subconsciously, and they don't want to produce or share their work because, oh my gosh, people didn't like it, and only 10 people like it, and I guess that means that it's not that great. Well, we know that the experts, most of the people online are not bona fide experts. They just tripped on a tactic. I'll say they tripped on a tactic, and then they garnered fans, followers, and likes, but it doesn't mean that they're an expert. And I mean, I've sat in rooms with people and it's a joke what they're teaching people, but people are following them because they're looking at a number, 100,000 followers. Okay, that person knows what they're talking about. And that's not true. So it's definitely the ego and the emotion.
And you also brought up about how when you, whether it's Clubhouse, any of the social media platforms, you go on strategically and with intentionality. Talk a little bit about how those factors are important and how we can use social media in a better way rather than, okay, let me post this video, let me go on, let me just talk, make chit chat, chatter. Share a little bit about the power of intentionality and being strategic with social media.
Okay, so it starts with your numbers, like I was sharing earlier. So for me, everything that I do, I'm looking at my numbers. So depending on your business, and most of my clients are service-based business owners, and they don't need a lot of clients. They might service, 50 clients a year. Last year, I only serviced about 160 women. So that's not a lot of people. So when you look at it from, let's say, a metric standpoint, 160 people. Okay. So you only need, right, 1,600 with a 10% conversion. Right? So when you start to look at those numbers, that's what you should focus on, connecting with the right people. So when you go online, every month, for example, I just want to connect with 1,000 women. That's it. I don't need to connect with millions. I don't need to, I don't need 10,000 likes. I just want to connect with 1,000 women, meaning I want to, present in front of 1,000 women. And then from that number, hopefully some of them will come and join, my group, or they'll come to my networking event, or they'll sign up for a training, whatever. But that's where it starts, is the numbers. So once you get clear on your numbers, you can be very strategic. Okay, I'm gonna make, for example, I'm gonna send out 20 DMs, or I'm gonna make sure my calendar is booked with 5 phone calls per week or 10 phone calls per week. I'm gonna make sure that I lead everyone in my Facebook feed. I'm gonna make sure I invite them to my website. Everything is, there's an end result, right? Because we're looking at the net impact. We're not, for me, it's not about ego or, emotion. It's the net impact.
That's good. The net impact. And with that, I want to scale it to the back end, charging your worth, because you say you don't need a lot of people. But then some entrepreneurs are like, they have this confidence issue of, oh my gosh, charging, or you can do more with less, but the value, help us about understanding the importance of value in order to charge your worth?
Gosh, there's a great book that I love, Barbara Stanley, Overcoming Under-Earning.
Oh,
And this is a tough one because when you do what you love, you can do it for free. And sometimes people take advantage of it. And you have to set clear boundaries. And I've had to deal with this in my own business, because I love what I do and I know I can help a lot of women. And I just want to help. But you have to set boundaries, and then you have to look at your own numbers. I was in Clubhouse last night, and there was an accountant that came on, and oh my gosh, she gave such good advice. We were talking about this topic of under earning, and she said, you know what? She said, you can't set your business up like a charity because it costs money to run the business. So you're out there, charging less, and you can't even meet the requirements, the business expenses.
right.
So that's the flip side of that. Like, you got to really think about, how much does it cost for me to pay for this business, invest in this business? And if I'm not able to bring that in, then, there's going to be some problems. So you have to separate, the personal from the business and focus on, again, I'm going to go back to the numbers because that changed my life. It continues to change my life. I'm all about the numbers. I look at the numbers all the time. I'm always looking at the numbers. I'm actually starting a new lead gen campaign, and my number is 5,600. Because I literally, I narrowed it down. It's based on actually a conversion, a website conversion, and putting people onto my list, another segmented audience. But that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about with the whole fans, followers, and likes. People aren't really doing that.
Right.
They're just looking at the front end. They're not looking at the back end. So I'm all about the back end. And it's not pretty. Let me tell you, when you start pulling those numbers apart and you're looking at conversion rates and you start to see, this was a 30%, or this is a 4%, or this is an 8%. It's not pretty, but it gives you a clear idea of where you're at and what you're doing.
Right.
And you can literally strategize from that place versus just showing up and not having a strategy at all.
And I think that some of us are scared to look at the numbers. That's why when you pull it out and say, okay, you have such and such followers of that many, how many have you converted? That's the part we don't want to deal with. We don't want to talk about that because it's scary to deal with it. But once you take that dive, you'll find out possibly where you're stuck and that you can build from there. But it's that it's mindset work, and it's really having a clear cut vision for where you want to go. So absolutely. Absolutely. Now, also with that, the importance of, we're talking about charging your worth, discounted dialogue, copy. Sometimes how you project or promote your business. Talk about the importance of that we don't have discounted dialogue in how we communicate our business.
Yes, because, there's this whole thing online about content and posting content. And, I love Gary Vee, and I think he has a formula. It's something like, I don't know how many pieces of content. I'll just say 100 pieces of content a day. And you're supposed to post content. You should be everywhere at every time and get your content out there. So that's sort of the social media landscape is based on content. We know that.
Right.
But in the entrepreneurial world, it's important that you understand communication and how to communicate and the difference between communicating messaging and content. Most people are focused on content and they don't have a solid message because they don't have a solid communication plan. And if you look at any business, any successful person, millionaires and billionaires, it's always a strong communication. And within sales and marketing, you have to be able to communicate the value of that offer. Otherwise, there's no sale. So it all starts with communication and taking the time to create that rock solid communication. And it's not messaging. It's not a cute tagline. It's being able to really communicate with people from the inside out. And what I mean by that is on every channel possible. I meet so many women who will say, I don't know what to say in an email or in a DM because they're used to, sort of these, what do we call punchlines, right? They're using punchlines to communicate with people, and that's not communication. You really need to understand how to communicate with people anytime, anywhere, any place, and all the channels available, and leverage the channels. So you mentioned trillionaire. So that was really cool. You mentioned that, if you have an opportunity to meet a billionaire and you don't know what to say, or you're intimidated, that's because there's a communication block. So I often say, if I was sitting down having a conversation with Oprah, I'd be able to communicate with Oprah in a way that we're on the same playing field.
Right.
Obviously, she's Oprah Winfrey, but I'm Anjanita Prevost, and I'm an asset to this world as well. So I can sit with Oprah, absolutely. So that's the difference, because women will sometimes say, well, that person is more successful, or they're a multiple seven-figure, or they're a celebrity. It doesn't matter. If you know how to communicate, you will literally conquer that conversation, and people will be impressed by you. And it's happened to me time and time again.
Awesome. And so, as we're bringing this down to our final sipping point,
bringing it
down, what has in the entrepreneurial space that we're in now, what has been the discussion, or what have you and your tribe, what has you're raising the awareness to? What are some of those awarenesses and possible challenges, and what solutions have you offered?
I offer a lot of solutions.
Give us your top.
Okay, so I would say to build social capital.
Go there.
Social capital.
Go there.
Because you can lose your money, right? Something happens in the world. But if you have social capital, that's going to bring you back. That's going to allow you to start over. That's going to give you the next resource or tip that you need. And we're always one opportunity away from literally, changing our life, so.
And now that's a good sip right there. You're just one opportunity away.
We're always one opportunity away.
That's a good sip.
We're always, and this is what I want to say. It's connecting the dots that often people are not doing, and they forget. So for example, we met on Clubhouse because I was a guest on Tamara's on Louise Clubhouse 7 digital marketing trends. So I was on that Clubhouse. Then we met. Now I'm doing this interview with you. Now I'm probably going to meet some other people. Absolutely. In your network.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, something might happen that, could be a major change, could lead to something else or opportunity, whatever. But oftentimes we forget to connect the dots, and we don't leverage what we already have. And we're always looking outside when we just need to leverage what we have.
That's good. That's good right there. And we cannot let you leave and depart this great space without sharing with us how we can further connect with you, and especially with the Femme Global 500 movement with you, the trillionairess. I'm speaking.
I like that. It was billionairess, and then you upgraded me to trillionaire. I'm adjusting to that. But femglobal500.com is the website, and feel free to connect with me there. Connect with me on LinkedIn, and also I'd love for you to check out my event, Networking in Stilettos. So I host these complimentary networking events, and you can come and check out my sort of style of networking, how I build a $1 billion Rolodex, and help you build social capital. So those are a few tips for you to stay in touch. And of course, stay in touch with me on social. You can DM me. You can join Chief Feminine Officer, which is my Facebook group, as well as connect with me on Clubhouse, because I have rooms every single day on Clubhouse now. So that's kind of cool. So
yes, and
I'm here.
yes. And the link is right here. This is the website. This is the connect.
Yay!
Yes. And so listen, Janita, thank you so much for sharing your shoe with us. And that's why I had to, because of the stiletto, I got stilettoed out. I
Oh,
was
you're
all
so
filled
nice.
up, ready to go. So
I love it. I love your glam. I love it. I love the background. I just love everything. You got the host, what is it? The host with the most.
I had to do it for the stiletto movement. I had to do it for you. So thank you so much for
Thank
coming with
you.
us on today. And so all of you, listen, take action, take courage, but most of all, don't forget, take a sip. Till next time, everybody, this has been the Heels Podcast.